welcome to St. Raphael School Q&A. I'm Presbytera Maria Koulianos. I am the principal of St. Raphael School, which is a school within a school of School Academy. And with us today, we have Mrs. Joanne Shinstock, and she is the director of School Academy and principal of School Academy. And we also have two instructors with us, so thank you for they are with us. We have Dr. Erin Moulton, who is, what don't you do? So she teaches liberal arts lower level and also our Russian courses. And then we have Magda Skermo, and she is our Greek teacher, one of the 4 Greek teachers that we have. So welcome one and all. Kira, I know you mentioned that you're originally from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, currently in Virginia, right? And so welcome personally to you, and then to anyone who's watching this video, welcome. So we're going to have a very, very short presentation just to kind of like set the stage of St. Raphael School, and then we're going to open it up to questions. Like I said earlier in the text chat box here, there's a Google form. Those of you that are watching the video, the Google form will be made available to you in the email when you receive the video, and you can use that to send us questions that I can follow up, or instructors can follow up based upon what your question is, and we'll get in contact with you that way. But let's just start with a short introduction about St. Raphael School, and let me get my screen share on. There we go. All right, so St. Raphael School, welcome. Again, like we said, if you have an anonymous question, you can definitely send it to us. We're happy you are here. We're happy you're watching the video, if you are watching the video. So thank you for taking the time. Orthodox Christian Restful Education is what our director here, Joanne Shinstock, calls the School experience. And that is so true. Within all the houses of studies, we have 3 currently: St. Raphael School, which is the Orthodox House of Studies. We have Aquinas House, which is the Catholic House of Studies. And we have Canterbury House, which is the Anglican House of Studies. Through all of this, with the great hall that is School Academy, we all together offer this School experience. Now, St. Raphael School is dedicated Orthodox Christian school. And like I said before, we are part of School Academy as a school within a school. We offer classes K through 12. So a student can start in kindergarten and go all the way up to their senior year of high school. And what the beautiful thing is with us having School Academy as the great hall, that we are now all working together in an ecumenical fashion, is that students can get the liberal arts, history courses, language, catechism, etc. from us, and then go on into the Great Hall and receive other courses like math, science, programming, etc. We as a community strive towards relationships, towards connection, and we turn towards each other and together around a subject that's really significant. And we journey together, instructors, parents, students, from the wonder to the wisdom. While we are committed as St. Raphael School as an Orthodox academy within School, we have multifaceted students in our school that are from various faith traditions. So we welcome inquiries and applications from non-Orthodox students as well. Of course, the other houses of study have their focus, and then the Great Hall, all the instructors there are from the Christian tradition that believe in the Nicene Creed. So you may have an Orthodox teacher in the Great Hall as well. Our philosophy of education is School, that of rest, but also rigor. and the balance of the rigor and the rest. And that is a very important point. Scolae doesn't mean not having the rigor, but rather how and when to actually deep dive and how long to stay there. Of course, faith and culture are a huge component within our school and within our community, and the ecumenical nature of Scolae Academy as a whole, and of course, us as a Orthodox school within a school is a really important thing, because for us, education is seen as a way to theosis, as a way to coming closer to God together in a transformation into the life of Christ. And this is a very important aspect. So we turn towards each other and we turn together. So these are just a few pictures of our teachers' travelings, my travelings, what's happening in the classrooms, students meeting up, I just recently met with this family here this past week, what they're doing and sharing. This is another student in her ballet. We welcomed an author, the author of Icon, Georgia Briggs, and she came to the classroom. She's going to be coming back next year. She gave us a confirmation of that. So it's all about this relational piece that we then together travel in that area of wonder to wisdom. And of course, our patron saint is at the center of that, St. Raphael of Brooklyn. This is my favorite saying: love, laugh, learn. That first we have to love and we have to laugh, and then we'll learn, right? So it's a matter of being sojourners together with students and with parents and other instructors too. So what is the SRS Liberal Arts curriculum? It's integrated, all-encompassing. It focuses on humanities, it focuses on the core, classics, and also on the Orthodox faith. Regardless of what class a student may take, they will have Orthodox faith taught. Of course, if it's a catechism class or catechetical humanities, that will be much, the whole class will be focused on that. But within even the liberal arts courses, iconography, chant, languages, orthodoxy will have its place within the classes. So here is a scope and sequence of our liberal arts and catechism curriculum map. And it just basically shows you that between levels 1 to level 7, and each level has 2-year rotation, you can see how a student can journey from age 5 to 6 all the way up to 7 to 18, and not repeating, but spiraling rather curriculum throughout their journey with us. Of course, we have catechism starting from level 3, which is age 7 and 8, all the way up to high school as well. And in addition to these, we have even mentioned our languages and our electives, which, you know, if at the end we have some time, I'll go through the website as well. In addition, our language classes, we have Greek, we have Russian, and Dr. Moulton's here to answer any Russian questions. And we also have new this year, Arabic. So you can learn 3 languages. Again, it will be the language, but also focus on the faith, because that is in the context of the faith that we are teaching the language. So thank you for attending. I'm looking forward to your questions, whether you're here. Thank you, Kira, for being here, or whether you are watching the video. We look forward to hearing your questions, receiving them, and getting back to you as soon as possible. All right, so now we're open for any questions you may have. So we're here for you.
I guess that really a question, perhaps maybe a question. I'm having a lot of anxiety as we're getting closer to the start, because this is a very, we've been doing Memoria Press, which is classical Christian. And it's, I really like it for a lot of reasons, but it's very rigorous. But again, at the same time, like I see the value in it, and, Sasha's doing really very well in it. So it's making me a little bit nervous switching to a different style. So, I guess she's, I know she's going to learn, but I'm having trouble letting go a little bit. I know it's the right, in your mind, it's the right thing. I don't know. I haven't. So I don't know if anybody else has experienced anything like that, or if.
Yeah, I know Dr. Moulton is a homeschooling mom with 4 boys, and 2 are in college. But before we go to her answer, because I see the light bulb above her head and she's ready to answer.
You go first.
Kira, just tell us the children that are currently enrolled, what are they going to be taking, and their ages, so that we have a better understanding.
Okay, so I only have 1 enrolled. I have 2 school-aged children. Sasha is my oldest, and she is the one who's enrolled. She's taking the liberal arts class on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 9:15. And then I also have her signed up on Wednesdays for the religion class.
Oh, very good.
So I thought we would start there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the other thing is, one of the reasons why I homeschooled was because I wasn't happy with all the technology in regular school. So I was, hesitant to put her on the screen too much.
Sure. Well, we're glad Sasha will be with us in level 3. That's wonderful. I'm assuming, well, I don't know, it might be with Dr. Moulton, but it could be probably, it is. Yeah. Okay, so I'll let Dr. Moulton speak here in a minute, but you're absolutely right. This balance between rigor and rest is really important, right? The sense of, we can deep dive somewhere. We can, what I call pitch. I tell my students this all the time, pitch your tent. We're pitching our tent here, and we're going to stay a while, right? We're going to make a campfire. We're going to sit here. So it's the process of our journeying together and how we are learning, how are we building these skill sets and what we're learning. And so it's a dance between that rest and that rigor. So I wholeheartedly understand, because many parents have actually expressed that to us. And, we're here. We're going to support you, and we're going to help you. And one of the main things we want to reinforce is that we're co-laborers, right? We're working together in synergy. We're a community. So, being open like this, thank you very much, is the key, so that we then can kind of like explore this and see how we can support you, because we're here to support your homeschooling needs. So, Dr. Aaron.
Well, first of all, I want to just say, I totally hear what you're saying, and I'm going to be really vulnerable and transparent and tell you that for years I knew about St. Raphael School. I had friends that were involved, and I declined to put my kids in for the reasons that you are stating. I love learning with my children. I didn't want them on the screen. So first of all, I think those are normal feelings. I feel differently about it at this stage of the journey because of what I've learned as a teacher, and it has encouraged me to put my younger kids, I have some that are done, that ship has sailed, but to put my younger kids in more classes, again, within reason, balancing it out. So I also want to say that I never think of what we're doing as supplanting what you're doing at home in educating your children. So I really think of this as, you know, helping you to nurture your children at home even better. So we're providing more opportunities, but you know, you are still the mother and the educator and the nurturer in your home. And the way that people use what we do at St. Raphael and at School Academy, but you know, does tend to vary depending on the way their home is set up. And so I want to ask you a couple of questions about what parts make you nervous, but I also want to say you don't have to lose some of the habits and rigor that you've already developed in your home, because you know, rigor and learning, we could do an hour about rest and rigor, but there's some parts of rigor that are good for learning. There are other parts, to be very honest, that are good for the structure of our home life, especially as home educators, right? So, you know, I'm only going to have Sasha 3 hours a week. Okay, there's a lot more hours a week that you have her in your home, right? And so, yes, she will have things to do to prepare for class. She'll have reading to do. She'll have things to do, but you know, you may still find that you have a habit with copy work or with, you know, I don't know, other kinds of things that you learn from Memorial Press that you want to continue in your home. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we all kind of, I think that's the beauty of homeschooling, is that we create exactly what works for each child, even not even just for our family. Like I like to say we've developed the culture of daily learning in my home. And I do think we've developed that because I watched, it's been more natural for my younger ones than my older ones, because they just literally came out of the womb to like seeing people sit at the dining room table doing their school. But at the same time, I mean, I have to change things every year for each kid and what they need. So that's the beauty of it. On a more practical level though, so what aspects, I'm gonna throw it back to you. Like, what aspects are you nervous about losing?
Well, I guess I haven't, maybe I do, like, how much time will I still have to do other things with her? For instance, you know, she's going to be on the computer for 3 hours, and then I know she's going to have some schoolwork.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Good question.
Maybe,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how to answer your question, but I don't know.
That's good.
Like,
That's a good question.
Because
Erin,
that would just kind of help me a little bit.
So when we think of what we offer here at School Academy, right? So we're looking at the level. Are you guys seeing my screen?
We are the curriculum map.
Yes. Okay. So when we're looking at level 3 here, remember that we're integrated, right? It's integrated programs. So we have the reading, the writing, the rhetoric, the history, the nature. It's all spiraled together, as you can see here. And so try to think of this not as just compartmentalized, but rather that she's getting a lot of what you're probably wanting her to do within the week. So Dr. Erin can talk more specifically on the level 3, what she does, but you notice here in the composition focus, she's going to be writing sentences, paragraphs, narration, poetry, right? Imitation. You know, they're going to focus on nature and the world, nature theme stories. And so she is going to have that rigor, but in a more integrated and holistic manner. I don't know if that kind of answers kind of what you were wondering.
No, that makes sense. And on some levels, I feel like with what we're currently doing, it's always fascinates me. I'm not an educator. That's not what I went to school for, but it does fascinate me how our curriculum does tie together. But at the same time, I know we're not getting that. Yes, it ties together, but it isn't holistic because it's too much.
Yeah.
But again, at the same time, I don't know why I'm having trouble letting go.
It's because it's
Letting
hard.
go.
I mean, I just want to kind of validate you. It's because it's hard to feel responsible for our children's education. Just honestly, as moms, we bear like huge burdens in our hearts, regardless, right? Just about the safety of our kids. I had a funny conversation with my oldest a couple years ago where he was doing something like sticking his head out the window when we were driving down the road or something, and I told him not to. He was like 17 at the time, and I told him not to, and he kind of laughed at me, and I said, look, I have spent 17 years of my life keeping that head safe. I mean, like, I just want you to respect a little bit how much I'm tied to the safety of your head. It's a little silly, but we feel that way. But well, it's not even that silly. I do actually feel that way about his head. But we feel that way about our children's education too. So I think it's normal that it feels anxious every time you make a change, and I felt that way a lot. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm a lot more chilled out now, but this is something like my 16th year of homeschooling. And what I know to be true is we've had some awesome years and we've had some mediocre years, and it's all okay in the end. I mean, really. I mean, my kids actually do all love to learn, and the older ones actually do excel in settings outside my home. But so that's the reason. It's just like years that make me calmer, but I absolutely understand the anxiety that goes with making a change. Realistically, for liberal arts, she's going to be in my class for an hour a day, and God willing, I really think she'll love that hour. I mean, generally the students come in, they don't want to miss it. They are there, they are having fun together, they are making friends. We are very interactive. That's very intentional on my part. So we open and close with prayer. It's not crazy, right? It's there's plenty of control. There's plenty of time for contemplation, but I'm not speaking the whole time. And partly that's because children that are homeschooled spend a lot of time at home with just their parents. And so this is an opportunity for them to interact with me and to interact with the other kids. So I want them to speak. I want to hear from them. I want them
and not only that, right? It's also effective for them to take ownership of what they're learning, to deepen their understanding. So we're there to facilitate the learning. We're there to guide them, to help them, and to journey with them. I can't tell you how many times I've been an educator for 25 years and I'm still taught by my students. So it's about us allowing that space for that to happen. I think that's really key. And, one of the things here that I'm going to show you as well is, when we look at what we're doing here, right? We have the literature, history, poetry, nature studies, arts and culture, but it's relational. And many times people say, oh, online is so impersonal, and yet it isn't, right? Because the environment is there, that we create the ability for the students to really pitch their tent, stay a while, and learn from each other, to become, right, a faculty of friends, of faith. The art is appreciated. Everything that's good and lovely and wonderful is appreciated. And I think that's key. So when you see these pictures, and these pictures here are just a few of the last 2 weeks. When you see these pictures, this is truly, what our community is. And it allows the learning to become even more intensified. If they're connecting it with another student, another teacher, its relevancy in their own life, it deepens their understanding. So that sense of rigor and rest is really important. I recently have now retired from teaching level 4 and level 5 because being principal, but I can tell you the conversations that we had in those middle school classes and emerging high school students are college level. Their conversations and their work is at such a level that probably I wasn't doing as a freshman in college. So it really is a testimony to what the kids are doing and what the students are really absorbing from the ethos that is created by the instructors within each classroom.
And so then to that, in terms of like, you know, what you add on in your extra time. So like with level 3, she'll be in level 3 with me. Every day she will have some reading to do. Usually it's a couple chapters.
Okay.
It should be very manageable. I rarely have students who are not keeping up. Sometimes something happens, they didn't get the book in time, and you know, they have to kind of scramble, but it's usually quite manageable. At least, especially in the second semester, but to some degree in the first semester, at least once a week, they turn into me some reading journals. We actually ease into that, but by the end of the year, they'll be doing regular reading journals that they turn in. And that's great preparation for when they're old enough for level 4.
Yes.
They do those there. We build those skills. They will have a monthly poem that they write with me. We do a different kind of poem every month, and they write an original poem that we share in class. So it's great because at the end of the year, you have 9 poems that you've written, unique poems you've written yourself. And then they have a monthly creative project. So usually they know that a week to 2 weeks in advance, so there's plenty of time. And that is the kind of project they may want to spend 4, 5, 6, 10 days on, because they present it. And so it's very fun to have a wonderful project to present. So some of it isn't always going to be set up in daily fashion. It'll be kind of some longer term projects. In terms of like what happens with history, what happens with nature studies, there is a lot of social studies and history packed into what we do and into our readings. Yes. On the other hand, it is not going to look like, grab it from my shelf above me. I work in an office that has shelves all around me, so I can grab my books from above. It is not going to look like reading Story of the World. I'm just going to be honest. It's not going to look like that. If you want to still do something like this, you absolutely can. In the cycle we're doing this year in level 3, we're not just doing American history. So we start out with a broad world geography unit, because we do Wonder Tales from around the world. So we do tons of geography games when we do that. So they're going to learn how to find all these countries. We're going to do folk dances and costume and music from all those regions to intertie with it. But later in the year, we do several books that are tied to American history. So I have had some families opt to read maybe an American history spine with it, or I usually give you a list of supplemental books you might want to read. So in this year, we'll read about Benjamin Franklin, we'll read about Ruby Bridges. So they're going to get tidbits. I'm not teaching like, a chronological history in this class. What they are getting that is absolutely pedagogically appropriate to their age is they are grabbing aspects of geography, of history, of narrative, of stories that they drink deeply from, right? So when it's done, they're going to really know about Benjamin Franklin and that goofy mouse that wasn't real, but we're going to talk about historical fiction, so it's going to be fun. And they're going to
and the relevancy of that is, nothing's written in a vacuum. That's one of my favorite lines that the students go away with, right? So the fact that the history is taught alongside the sociology aspects are taught alongside the nature, alongside the literature, that's not a separate entity, learning about the author, when they lived, how they lived, what year they lived, the significance of when they wrote the piece that they did. All of these are connected, and the spiraling effect really deepens the understanding of the literature and allows the student to really put it into context, right? It's not separated from what they're learning. And like what Dr. Aaron has already expressed so beautifully is that it all comes together. And at the end of the year, you start, actually the middle of the year, you start seeing them make connections between one piece of literature and another piece of literature, and how to correlate and contrast, to compare. And it's so exciting to see all of these light bulbs go off in the class. And sometimes it's hard to express it, and sometimes, it's just, you will definitely be exposed to that once Sasha starts getting into the class, and she'll be so excited to tell you all about it.
Well, and I hope, so if I think over my own educational journey, since I was very small, and I was fortunate to learn from phenomenal teachers growing up, but the things that I remember most usually involve some activity where we really dug deeply into something.
Yes.
So for example, in 6th grade, I did this unit about the Great Depression, and then, well, the 1920s, and then the start of the Depression. And we made this play about it in 6th grade. And to this day, I can recite these things about Al Capone and whatever. But there are lots of other things that I did in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade that I have zero memory of, right? I did a project on starfish in the 5th grade, and I know all these details about starfish that I've never forgotten. So we're working really to create those kinds of experiences. Yeah. So like this past year, we did a unit on Helen Keller in level 3, and they read parts of her autobiography. And we did we call it our deaf blind.
Oh, they
activity.
Loved that. I heard it up in middle school and high school.
They had to eat a meal. They had to have their family serve them a meal while they somehow made themselves deaf and blind as best possible. So most children blindfolded themselves, wore earplugs, but then the family was silent, right, to try to do it. I mean, they'll never forget that experience. In fact, 2 of my kids who weren't enrolled in my class asked to do it. So we had to do it at our house too. And now they're always remember that about Helen Keller. So we're really working to create those kinds of experiences that we share together. So we really experience our reading. And at the same time, it is fantastic if at home you want to add other readings, you want to, I mean, I'm not giving level 3, although I could add this if there was a request, but I'm not giving them I'm definitely not giving spelling tests or anything like that, right?
No.
I don't even really do copy work. We do copy work optional in level 1 and 2, but I haven't really been doing it in level 3. But when they do their reading journals, they are practicing copying. Yes. So it's built in. But if you find that that's not enough, so my own kids have to do cursive handwriting practice till the 6th grade. That's just something that I do with my kids, no matter what. If that's the kind of thing that you're going to still do that. Like you're still the parent in charge of those pieces. If your kids need a bunch of science, absolutely go get some fun hands-on science curriculum and do that at home. We're going to do some nature study. I'm going to ask them to make bird lists. We do that in this unit, but do something else too. So we're always an augmentation of what you do. Yeah. We're here to augment, to enrich what you do, and offer structure too, rigor and rest. And so all of that, again, is that spiraling effect, that nothing's in a vacuum, that's all connected. Level 4, level 5, for example, all of our nature studies is connected to each book, each novel. If we're reading Number of the Stars, we're learning about the Siberian steppes, right? If we're reading Where the Red Fern Grows, we are learning about coons, right? And all of that is connected. Again, nothing is like broken apart, but rather it's pulled together for that focus. And I did want to mention one thing, and then I want to go to Miss Lori. It's good to see you again, Lori. And I know, Megan, I saw your question in the chat box, so we'll get to your question too. Oh, and Lori, Lori, that's your question. But I did want to mention that Scholarly Academy, we do have a center for learning differences. So let's say, something comes up and, you need just a little extra assistance. We have that. And we also have the tutoring center as well. So these are in addition to your homeschool as well, right? So if you're doing something in your homeschool that you're like, oh, I just need just a little bit more assistance there, my student just needs a little bit more, you can also use those resources to help with that.
Mhm.
Presbytera, may I add just one thing?
Yes, sure.
Just to go back to one of Kira's concerns about technology, I just want to say overall, in our classes, we do not use the chat box in terms of how we connect with our students. Yes, we received, when School Academy, including Houses of Studies, first started, that had been an option in our early years. And through teacher feedback and parent feedback, we realized this wasn't helpful in most cases. In all cases, it was a distraction. So again, just like Presbytera and Dr. Moulton have been saying tonight, the relational piece is really important, and that live interactive experience in the classroom is important. So we've removed the chat box. We haven't had that for several years. Our courses are not asynchronous. It's not a talking head. Students have to keep their video on at all time. The teacher sees everybody. Students see the teacher and their classmates. So in terms of just the concern of how much additional technology would I be bringing into my home by committing to an online class with St. Raphael School or School Academy in the Great Hall, I'll tell you what our former director has always said, and she said, we use as little technology as possible to connect with our families and to bring classical education into your home through Zoom. So I say that because not all online schools are the same. We are very different in how we bring online education to you. So another great way is to email any one of our instructors and say, hey, can I see a sample of a class so I get an idea of what it looks like? I know it's during the summer, so during the academic year, we have invited students in as guests and have been able to visit a class during the summer. It's a little different. We don't always have that except for summer classes going on, but all that to say, if you have a question or a concern there that's lingering, there's ways that we can share a sample with you so you see just what that technology piece is like. So I just want to put that in there for everyone listening and for everyone here tonight, just that technology is the means by which obviously we meet, but it is not the main way in which we are bringing that education. We instill classical pedagogy in the classroom. We encourage our teachers to continue their own ongoing education through Classical U. So we really are focusing on classical pedagogy and the relationship piece, and not the bells and whistles of technology, if you will.
And your work at home, what your child does at home, by and large, will not involve technology, right? I mean, every once in a while, I might give a video that we watch in class, and I might say, you could share this with your family, but mostly it's having a book, it's having a pen and pencil in hand, it's going outside and collecting something. So
okay, because that was another one of my questions, because I got an email recently that you're switching to a different kind of format. So I didn't know what that was talking about. And then actually again, because we don't use the computer, I had actually looked at the Good and the Beautiful. They offer like a typing program, so that I don't know if I need to get her to learn how to
probably doesn't,
because she doesn't know how, I mean, she types on the computer, but she uses, her fingers.
So that's not necessary in level 3.
Okay.
Yeah, and even in level 4 and level 5, we allow the parents to dictate that. We have students that handwrite assignments. Some do it in cursive. That's part of their homeschool. There's others that do type based upon their learning differences as well. Or, they're using speech over software so that there's talking and the computer's typing for them. So really, again, we're an augmentation of what you're already doing in your home. And so our assignments aren't technology focused, unless, at least in the middle school area, if they have a culminating activity, we usually give them a choice board that they can choose what they want to kind of do their activity on. Some say to me, well, I want to do a program. So it's really interesting. Like, they actually do programming languages. So, but it's not because of the class, but rather because that's how they want to express their deep understanding of the literature. So it all stems from the student.
Okay.
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 Now, let me go to Lori's question really quick. Lori asked the question, how do you move through the classes if they are on a 2-year rotation? Do students do 2 years of each class? Yes. So they're going to spend 2 years in level 1 all the way up through level 6, and 7 go together. So all of these classes have unrepeated curriculum. All of them from 1 to 6, unrepeated curriculum. So 2-year rotation, the 1 year, and then the following year, and then they move forward. Is that what you were asking, Lori?
Yeah, that really helps. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I would just add to the previous conversation that I didn't hear the beginning of your question, but my daughter's first year was at Scholey Academy, and we didn't use the computer at all prior to that. And I had concerns about that. And the way the classes were set up, my daughter took classes with Emily Brigham, and she just
yes. Yeah.
And
yes.
you know, she's still talking this summer about the virtues that she studied in classic literature, and she doesn't type. And so yeah, it's just been a really wonderful experience, and we still don't use the computer. We don't need to use the computer, but it has enlivened her sense of of learning as wonder, you know, taking in, memorizing ancient history, appreciating nature. It's been a really beautiful thing. It's been a good balance of rest and rigor. And so I was very interested in level 4 and also level 5 and the humanities focus. They really look great.
Yes. So I have passed the torch to Sarah Fothergill in level 4 and level 5.
I'm sorry. Level 3 and level 4. I've spoken with Dr. Moulton as well.
Yeah, you and I spoke. I know we've been emailing, and I want to clarify one thing about the 2 years. So it is 2 years. So we basically have 2 years that we rotate. It doesn't matter which one you start in.
Right.
However, I remember about your daughter because we do have students like who come in and they're on the older end of a level, and they may only do 1 year in that level and then move on to the next year.
Right.
So
is that
she
okay?
could absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
So she can do 1 year in level 3 and then move to level 4. And I remember a little about her age. None of that will seem totally normal. Yeah, and it shouldn't be a problem at all.
Our classes are multi-age in the sense that sometimes, you know, we may have a student that is well above where they need to be. And, you know, we also consider their maturity level, especially when we get into the level 4 and 5 and beyond, the content of the maturity. It's not just a matter of decoding, because the other thing is, well, you know, they can decode, but is really the content appropriate for that age group? And so we talk about that too. So just like Dr. Aaron has mentioned to both you, Kara, and to you, Lori, welcome, Megan, officially. I'm so glad you found us on social media and found your way. It's that we look at each student. This is the key. We work collaboratively with you all in order to help you achieve the goals that you have created in your homeschool. We're an augmentation. And so we have, of course, this curriculum map. We have the scope and sequence. Of course, like Dr. Aaron mentioned, we collaborate straight through so that each level leads into the other level and they're prepared for what's to come. And it's just a wonderful community of learners. One other thing I want to mention too, Lori, is just for anyone listening, our catechism classes also run on a 2-year rotation. So you can take level 3, the first year or one of the years is Old Testament, then New Testament, and then you go into all of these others. Again, 2-year rotation, repeated content, unrepeated content. Spiraling content, yes. Spiraling content, pulling them together, talking about what they've learned before and making them, help them make those connections, absolutely, but not repeated content. Lori, did we answer your question sufficiently?
Yes, that was wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, very good, very good. I wanted to just quickly show you all, and then I'm hoping Megan might have some questions. Not putting you on the spot, Megan, but I did want to show you, yes, we are a liberal arts school, and we have this wonderful core curriculum. These are our tried and true. Our liberal arts program and catechism and Greek is our tried and true. Of course, St. Raphael School has been a school since 2013, and we came into Scole in 2018, and we just got even better with them because, of course, with many, there's much more opportunities. And so our tried and true is here, but we do have other courses. So just for the sake of the video, we have the languages in lower school languages. We have Greek and Arabic. And wonderful instructors here. We also have a great poetry class. Poetry classes are near and dear to our SRS community. In general, poetry is one of the cornerstones of our hearts, I think I could say. It really is near and dear to us because of founder Dr. James Taylor, who wrote Poetic Knowledge, who later became Father Porphyrios, taking on monastic vows. Then, of course, we have the catechism. We do have a new class, which I'm excited about, Orthodox Saints, Nature, and their animal friends. Come on, so cool. I'm just saying I might have to sneak in once in a while, but so this is a semester class, and so is this. So this is basically the what is offered in a lower level, and many times we get the questions, which is, okay, well, what more do I need to add, right? And these questions, again, Dr. Aaron, Presbytera Jennifer Moore, and Milika Savic, they will be able to just sit with you and talk with you and guide you through that. And again, it's really on a case by case basis. Then we have the middle school, grades 6 through 9. Again, our liberal arts, we have the Greek, we have Arabic, and then we have Russian. Our Russian program, thanks to Dr. Moulton, is very strong. We have Russian even up into the upper schools, which we'll show. We have the catechism, again here, and then iconography is introduced. We have a house iconographer, Randy Maria Sider Rose. She has been an iconographer for many years, and she actually brings students through an apprenticeship program that when they finish, if God blesses them with that charism, they can actually commission work. And she recently told me about one of our students that she said, I actually passed over some commissioned work to her because she's that good. So, I mean, this is really exciting too for those students. We also have chant. We have Carpatho-Rusyn and Byzantine chant, representing 2 different traditions in the Orthodox Church. We have, again, poetry. Now notice this poetry class, these 2 here are for middle school, but this one here straddles both lower school and middle school. Our students don't find it odd. Sometimes we're asked, well, don't students find it odd that you have multi-ages? Actually, they don't. They actually quite enjoy that. The older students become like mentors to the younger students. The younger students look up to the older students. The older students really get a practice, being and expressing their love of Christ in that manner. So actually, it's a beautiful class when that happens. These 2 courses in poetry focus on hymnography of the Orthodox Church, all by the beauty. So the poetry to the Theotokos, Let My Prayer Rise, poetry of Great Lent and Pascha. It's going to be a wonderful deep dive. This is another example of that rest and rigor, right? So when you get into Awed by Your Beauty, the actual hymn of the Theotokos, right? And you really dig into that, that is rigorous. But it's also good and it's also beautiful. So that balance is there. and it done so beautifully. So a new class we have added for middle school and for upper school is Christian theatrical arts, writing and acting. Yes, we have an instructor who's going to become a priest, God willing, and he actually went to Carnegie, is an actor, screenwriter, player. He is teaching catechism, but he also is teaching this, and he is amazing. So he's going to be focusing on this. And of course, we hear treatises of St. John Chrysostom, who talks about how people are spending a lot of time at the theaters and things like that. So he is going to go over the history of theater, where it came from, and how we can look at it from an Orthodox perspective. So this is our middle school classes. Then when we get into upper school, again, our tried and true, our liberal arts is right here. All right, you go step by step by step. We have Greek, New Testament Greek, okay, Russian. This here for upper school New Testament, if your student has never taken Greek and they're a 9th grader and you're like, oh, I wish they would have taken it. This course here offered by Mr. Nicholas Koulianos, he gives, this basically is kind of like a college level class, what also Dr. Moulton does in her upper school Russian. It's using a college level book and just systematically going through that. So they don't even have to ever been in our program, but in 9th grade, it'll start from the alphavita and work them their way through. Again, our Russian, we also have Arabic, and we have our poetry, our theater, our chant, our iconography once again. In addition to our iconography, we have a couple classes that she is offering, drawing with the Byzantine masters and history of Byzantine art, which are 2 new classes. And I'm really excited about this one, which is finance, right? Our high schoolers need to know about financial wisdom. So we actually have Father Nicholas Hubbard, who is a finance major, and he will be teaching from the treatise on wealth and poverty, and then talk about financial wisdom. What does that mean today to us in the relevant world, right? And last but not least, catechetical humanities. As you can see, we have Eastern Orthodox saints, Western Orthodox saints, Old Testament, the survey of the Torah. Last but not least, we didn't forget about you, parents. Lori, Kira, Megan, do you guys want to learn? Do you want to find some joy? Do you want to find some enrichment? Well, we have this for you in our continuing education, and all of you watching the video too. Continuing education, we have this. You can learn New Testament Greek, you can learn Russian, you can take that finance class, iconography, catechism, and Byzantine chant. And they're all very reasonably priced. And just to show you, because Dr. Moulton's here, Dr. Moulton is a linguist in Syriac languages, and she is offering the class for adults in Russian for $295 for the year. For the year. I just got a question from social media, which is that per semester? I said, no, it's for the year. So really, we have something for everyone, something for everyone. So I talked quite a bit. Questions that kind of might have trailed in when I was talking. Megan, I would love to hear your voice. Tell us where you're from. Tell us about your children, or maybe about yourself.
Hi, I'm Megan. I live in Michigan. We attend Holy Cross up in Grand Rapids. So
very good.
We have been homeschooling. I've been homeschooling my kids for, I don't know, like 15 years. 2 are graduated. And then I have 2 7th graders next year. So my younger ones, we did classical conversations for about 5 years. And then we moved into Memoria Press when the pandemic hit. And we've stuck with Memoria Press. So that's what we've kind of been doing with them. And not a whole lot outside of home with the younger kids. I did a lot with my older kids, regretted it. So I kind of backpedaled with the younger ones. And so, you know, we're slowly adding in some enrichment things. We do band and music stuff, but that's been it with my kids for the past couple of years. So I'm, we are recently Orthodox. So I've only been Orthodox for a few years, and so the catechism appeals to me. Some of the things that are distinctly Orthodox for the kids, I'm just not quite sure where to add it in or which classes to look at for them. So I tend to be an all or nothing person. So I'm like, oh, I'll just enroll them in everything. But I've already bought my curriculum for next year, so I'm pretty committed to our Memorial Press.
So as a parent, I'll even just chime in as a parent. I've had kids do just a catechism class among my kids, and it works great because it's 1 hour a week, and usually not a lot of work outside of class. So depending, but go ahead.
And I think I would like to just, I would like them to learn more about Orthodoxy and just kind of develop a love for it, because it's very different than what we experienced in the Protestant church. So I have one that just loves everything Orthodox, and the other one is like, this is all really weird, and my friends think I'm weird. So, just trying to pull them into that. And the poetry, actually, that interested me too, because it does seem to be very, just looking at the beauty. I mean, that was part of what drew me into Orthodoxy, was just the beauty of the liturgy and the symbolism and that. So, so I'm not sure. Like I said, I was wandering around Facebook. I actually saw a post about the adult classes on the St. Amelia Facebook page, and that led me. I was looking at some of the different classes with you guys, and then also what's the other one?
St. Athanasios.
Yep. And so just kind of, and I saw the meeting, and I was like, we'll give it a try. And just
welcome.
Well, thanks. Thank you.
You said they're both 7th graders, so this is where they would fall into, which is God's presence in His saints, and that would be a wonderful entrance point, right, to talk about the saints. Of course, Elias Diamond, he's a wonderful instructor, and he is a pastoral assistant at a church, the one soon to be a priest. And then Father George Dadu, oh my goodness, he's just amazing. You have to watch the interviews, and I'll show you where those are here in a moment. And then I agree with you. These poetry classes, they're only a semester long, but the poetry classes are going to be so enriching. Of course, it is a poetry class, but like this one, we're going to stick with the Akathis of the Theotokos and talk about all of the hymnography and the poetry that's there that talks about her, and the Miriam poems are lifted up. And so not only are they talked about as poetry, but also, again, we cannot take out the theology from any of our classes. It's all embedded. So if you are interested with anything, or if you have questions, just where to find us. Let us know. Let us know. Before we dismiss, I know we're 3 minutes over. I did want to show you all, because Megan, you mentioned about, let's see here if I can find it quickly. You mentioned about getting to know us more. So there it is. There it is. All right. We have a YouTube page. And so the YouTube page is a Scholé Academy YouTube page. You will be able to watch interviews, events that we have done from the YouTube page. We'll post this in the chat box for you guys to click on. Here it is. And then we'll get that to those of you that are going to be watching the video as well, along with the other one. But as you can see, we have lots of playlists. We have questions with your classical instructor. We have recently, we just did Aquinas House, the Catholic House of Studies event. And of course, lots of SRS events and questions with your classical educator. And you'll find Father George here as well. Recently, we just did one with Dr. Nicholas Rumis, who is our chant instructor. He just released a book on the hymnography of David. So you can find all of this information here. And then since I'm on the point of boasting, I know, let me boast a little bit about you all, Dr. Aaron. So our instructors are dedicated to what they do. One of the things that makes SRS remarkable outside of the students, the families, are our instructors. So the 20 instructors that are in St. Raphael School, 3 of them have doctorates, 15 have masters, 15 have bachelors, and then 4 have additional recognitions. So they have a total of 37 higher education degrees among all of our instructors. Of course, all of them are here because they're devoted to classical Christian education. They're devoted to the theosis of themselves and of their students, of formation. And that is our prime goal. The formation is the key: to love, then laugh, and then learn, in that order, as I tell my students. So let's see here. Any other questions, Kira and Megan?
I do, I'm sorry.
Yes, no, don't be sorry, I'm glad.
So I don't want to, how do I stay involved in the class and what's going on?
Great
I don't want to,
question.
I'm reorganizing our classroom because I also have a 1-year-old. So the last semester was awful because he was just like tearing apart everything. I am thinking of putting Sasha in a separate room, which, but then I can't really hear anything. So, how do I handle that?
Great question. I want to ask Mrs. Shinstock really quick. She may know the question to this. I know in Schoology, parents could have accounts to shadow their students. On the new learning management system, I can't recall, does Canvas also have a similar system?
Yes, absolutely. So through Canvas, parents will be on our learning management system. They'll be able to track what's happening between teacher-student communication, when assignments are posted, discussion boards of class, grades, anything that is specific to the course. And then the other thing I just want to say, and then I know Presbytera Maria can kind of dive deeper into it. Don't forget about the St. Raphael School Student Parent Handbook. There is a parent agreement section there. And it starts with talking about what the school promises to deliver to the parent. And then it follows it by what is the arrangement in the relationship between what are the expectations between parent and teacher? So when you ask that question of, what is my role as a parent in terms of an online class? The handbook is going to be, I think, your first place to start, just in terms of having roles and responsibilities listed, and a lot of clarity is provided in that handbook. And then I know Presbytera and probably Dr. Moulton can speak more specifically to kind of the day-to-day, how does that relationship and expectations for the parent go? And then the final thing I'll say, I think that this probably applies more to the start of the year, but just being familiar with the course description and those scholarship skills or those prerequisites, knowing what should the child already know at the start of the year, and then also knowing in good communication with the teacher, what skills and concepts will the teacher be reinforcing through the year. And another great question that parents can ask of the instructor is simply, what are some of those skills or concepts that you want me to, continue with that support from home as a parent? I know in the Great Hall, our course pages provide some information about that, but with our SRS course pages, our instructors might describe that differently, maybe through the syllabus or of course through orientation. But I would definitely go back to the student parent handbook in terms of understanding parent role in connection to courses.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. This student parent handbook, of course, is located under resources. And as you click on it, it will give you all of the philosophy, technology, policies, parent agreement, where you can actually read in detail expectations, what we're reinforcing in the classroom and what we're offering, and what the roles are of each. Communication is key. We tell our instructors that we want you to be communicating with parents on a regular basis, depending on the age level, and Dr. Moulton will speak more to the lower school, but as a former middle school and lower upper school teacher, I communicated regularly via email, phone call, Zoom, just letting them know, hey, this project is coming up. So my families and students received regular communication, and all of our instructors are very good about that. As far as listening to recordings, the first 2 weeks of classes are there, and they'll be posted on each Canvas page, and you can actually watch the video to see kind of like a feel of what's going on in the classroom. The scope and sequence, once again, is a spiraling one. So, you know, I may introduce character, I just blinked. Different types of characters. I can't think of the other word. And so what's a flat character? What's a round character? How are they working in this particular book, right? Watership Down is where I start with that, because there's so many characters in Watership Down. But then that's the first book we read in the year. But throughout the year, that conversation keeps on coming back up around. So what kind of character is this? So the skills are built upon, and not separate, right? So they're taught, and it's built upon and attached, and it's built upon and attached, and it's a spiraling effect. And that's kind of like we were talking about earlier about that holistic of the reading, writing, rhetoric, history, nature studies, how it's all tied in together. Dr. Moulton.
So just on a practical level, I'm going to be new to the Canvas learning system, just like you are. It's a change for all of us this year, but yes. I am very deliberate about keeping everything posted. You always know what assignments are coming up. You will be able to log in and see that there. I have used Canvas with my own kids in another setting, and so I know that as a parent, you'll be able to see everything that's going on. On a practical day-to-day basis, in terms of where she does the class, first of all, we have our students remain on mute when they are not speaking. So it is absolutely okay if you, so different families handle this differently. I am perfectly fine if you are in the room, of course, and can hear everything that's going on, and you may really want to. There are sometimes children who like to have on headphones or something like that.
Like me.
Right. I mean, kids are, I have on earbuds when I teach. So, so my kids, if they're in the next room, they don't necessarily hear your kids talking. They hear me talking, because sometimes they'll say, what was that kid saying that you laughed at? But, you know, I think you can work out how that works best in your house. You may find that she says, Mom, I don't want you in the room. We record everything always. So I do not,
everything.
Yeah, there are hours and hours of all of us teaching that are documented. So if I don't post those every day after the first 2 weeks, but I always have them. So anytime you want them, you can ask. You can say, hey, I'm really curious about what happened in class on Tuesday. Will happily provide it for you. Or even sometimes I have students who say like, oh, I wanted to think about that thing. I want to review that thing you showed me. Can I have the video? Absolutely. So that's certainly an option. I'm pretty hopeful she's probably just going to talk to you about what's going on too.
Yeah.
But you'll have access to everything. There is nothing that is hidden from parents. And then the third thing is I do one-on-one conferences with parents and students twice a year. I put out the notice for those at the beginning of the second quarter and the beginning of beginning of the second quarter and beginning of the fourth quarter. So twice a year, we deliberately do about a 15-minute one-on-one conference. We can talk about anything you want to talk about. If you need more than that, I'll do it. I mean, I'll always do it on request, but I'm very deliberate. I mean, last year I had about 70 students, so I'm very deliberate across my courses, but I make a point twice a year of setting up conferences. And I have learned we make so much more progress in a 15-minute meeting than in 18 emails.
Yes.
So I'm very, very happy to do that anytime. And you
that
can come with or without your students, depending.
Yes. This is common with our instructors. This is common. Of course, in the upper school, less common, but definitely in the lower school and the middle school, I myself did those. I can't say do those anymore. Did those. But I wanted to show you, even though this is in Canvas, I want to show you kind of like something you'll see, right? So for example, you'll see assignments. And the last story that level 4 read was the story of Rolf and the Viking Bow. And so you'll see an instructor set up an assignment and with instructions, right? So the student will see it and it'll say, you know, read this, chapters 1 through 5, write a character journal following the instructions attached. Okay, so they're going to actually see all of this, and you will be able to see it in a parent account as well. So in a parent account, you'll see exactly what your student sees, and you'll be able to keep track of assignments this way. And then, as you know, I and Mrs. Shinstock and Dr. Moulton mentioned, then we have these other things that can supplement that. Did we answer your question, Kira? That's okay.
I was talking to myself on.
That's okay.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I will say, I'm sorry. I do sometimes know when a parent is listening, because I'll hear.
It's great.
And it's great. I'll hear laughter
great.
in the background,
Yeah.
or someone will pop in and be like, "Wait, we wanted to tell you this that happened at our house." You know, so yeah, and I love it. I mean, I think it's fantastic.
We get to know our families and their systems, right? What the systems they have in place. Yeah. And so, you know, we get to know them so well that, you know, even though if we don't see you and we know you're there, we'll say, "So, Mrs. Flores, what do you think of that?" You know, so it's important to understand we're not isolating you from your child's education. We are coming into your homeschool, right? We're coming into your homeschool. And so you are part of this. We're not islands. We're not islands. Miss Megan, anything else that might have bubbled up for you? Okay, nope. I saw that. Nope. All right. So any last comments? Mrs. Shinstock, I'll start with you. Any last comments?
No, I would just like to say that I am grateful for your trust and your partnership as we look at the 22-23 academic year. St. Raphael School is the largest of our houses. It is the school within a school. St. Raphael School has been with us since 2018. So in terms of our houses, I think this particular house knows the Great Hall and kind of our community the best. And so we've seen just really, I think the beautiful partnership that comes from the work that we're doing online with our families, whether it started out with one class and it grew from there. I just think that as a new family, you'll find very quickly how easy it is to feel a part of a community, and the trepidation you might have or the questions or concerns you might have about how can we do this online. I think you'll see very quickly within those first weeks of school how Zoom is not an obstacle. It's just simply the means by which we connect with you and that we enter your home. So again, I just, thank you for that trust, because that is what we do. You welcome us right into your kitchen or your living room or, the dining room table. So, and then I think the last thing I would say is just on a very practical note, if ever you have a question and you're just not sure who to reach out to, email support@skoleacademy.com, and that's going to go directly to the admin team. And if it needs to get to a teacher, it will very quickly get to that instructor. So on the St. Raphael School website, you have under About Us, your instructors, where you can find their email and directly email them. But I know in our busy days, sometimes we're just like, I don't know who to email. So just remember support@skoleacademy.com and we will help you.
Dr. Moulton?
No, I'm just excited. I will tell Megan too, even your 7th graders, the poetry class I'm teaching would work great for them. I've got kind of a span, but there's 12-year-olds in that class. I think that I tell people often that doing like a 1 day a week or a semester class is a great way to dip your toe in the water. And that's even what I've done with my own kids with St. Raphael School. So I love to have them. I will say this. I love to read and write poetry with kids. It is my favorite thing to do. So, and that course, we're also going to write our own troparia. So we're going to be doing some working on the hymnography of the church too, and looking at Psalms a little bit too. So that's my favorite thing to do. If I could do that all day long, I would be a happy person. So
this integration, this love, this excitement, this is who we are. This is a Skole experience, and St. Raphael School is just so excited to welcome anyone who's interested to come and see. Just come and see. And if you have questions, anything that we can help you with, we are here to help. We're not just a click and a class. We are actually here to sit beside you, your students, and sojourn together from wonder to wisdom. That's what we're here for, and this is what we're passionate about. So let's end with an evening prayer, a child's evening prayer, because I did teach level 3 catechism. Again, wonderful instructors have been passed the baton, but this is definitely some of the things that we would do so students would, start memorizing these kinds of prayers. So, Kira or Megan, would either one of you like to lead us in the evening prayer?
I'm not able to see it. I'm not sure. I'm on an iPhone. It just says that you've started sharing your screen, but I can't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy to do it.
Thank you, Kira.
Sure. In the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen. Lord Jesus Christ, you receive the children who came to you. Receive also from your child this evening prayer. Shelter me under the protection of your wings, that I may lie down in peace and sleep. Awaken me in due time, that I may glorify you, for you alone are good and love all people. Into your hands, O Lord Jesus Christ, I command my spirit and body. Bless me, save me, and grant me eternal life. The Father is my hope, the Son is my refuge, the Holy Spirit is my shelter. Holy Trinity, glory to you. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you for those that attended. Thank you for those of you that will watch the video. Thank you to Mrs. Shinstock, Director of Skole Academy and Principal of Skole Academy, for attending. Dr. Moulton and the other instructors who were here and had to leave. We're here. We are your school, and let us know how we can help. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.